there are times where you slip, you fall down, things don't go according to plan. The date comes that you had set that you were going to have this, you're going to move into the home or have your first home or, whatever it was going to be. And it didn't happen that day. I'm just saying, stay encouraged, say the right things to yourself, have the right self-talk so that you're not changing the goal. You're just shifting the date. Stop saying to yourself that it's never going to happen because it didn't happen by that date. I guess it's not supposed to happen ever because it didn't happen by that date. I'm asking that you do your best to adjust the date, but keep the goal.
That's good.
And if the goal is unrealistic, then perhaps adjust the goal, but don't throw the entire goal. Don't throw it all the way, right? Continue to go for the things that you desire in life and don't allow negative self-talk to keep you away from it. You can do it. You deserve it. And I can't wait for you to accomplish it.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven, and family-focused, and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience. I am Tracy Self. How's it going?
What's up? This is Darnell Self. This is the Self-Talk Experience, and we are back every Thursday. We're right here.
Every Thursday, we are here.
Yes, we're excited to be here to talk about the things that we say to ourselves. Because remember, the things we say to ourselves, meaning the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, eventually will determine what we attract and even who we attract sometimes for ourselves. So we're excited about the shift that's taking place. For so many people, we get all the comments and we just appreciate that. All the referrals for people to start watching the Self-Talk Experience. Keep it up. We are excited about the shift and the change that we're helping people to make in the things that they're saying to themselves.
Yes, we are. What do you want to talk about today?
It sounded like you wanted to say something else.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Not yet. I will.
Yet. Okay, I'm sure. Listen, today I wanted to talk about on the way to your goal. Okay. Whatever that goal is. Sometimes we start to second guess ourselves.
All the time. Yeah.
Right. And it could be based on the time before we set the same goal. Like, I remember last time I said I was going to do this.
But sometimes you set goals that are scary.
Yeah.
So it could just be fear.
Exactly right.
Right.
And then that could be based on a lot of different things, right? It could be based on a lack of support. Like, that'll never happen. You're crazy for thinking you can accomplish that. It could be some trauma.
Yes.
So many different reasons why people start and then start wondering along the way if it's even possible. So I want to talk about today, this self-talk you got to have when perhaps you've not met the goal on the date that you set. And my philosophy is change the date, but not the goal.
Right. And also, babe, kudos for even setting the goal because a lot of us never set the goal. So we're already fast tracking.
Okay.
Right?
Amen.
No, we are. We're already fast tracking because you're assuming you set a goal.
That's true. That's true. Most
That's
folks.
huge.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Some people have a wish or perhaps a dream, but they don't have a timeline.
Right. That's different.
Right. They haven't really set a date to it. So other than that, it's no real plan because if it's like, hey, whenever, someday, one day, how do you know if you're on track?
So then that's not a goal.
That's exactly right.
You haven't set it.
Yeah. I wish, I hope, I dream. That's what that is. But a goal says, look, by June 1st, this is going to happen. And I'm going to measure, right? These are my checkpoints. And
you have to have a plan. Like you're saying, the checkpoints are the plan for the goal?
Well, that's how you are measuring whether you're on track to hit the goal.
Okay.
Right? Because it's hard to grow something you can't measure. So how do you know if you're on track or behind? So if I'm behind, that means I got to pick up the pace. That means perhaps I got to increase activity. I've got to, to assess what's going on, why I'm behind.
Right.
Because what happens is if I'm behind on my goal and I keep doing what I've done so far up until this point, into this checkpoint, then I'm probably not going to hit the goal because I'm probably going to get the exact same results over the next few months or whatever that timeline is.
Right. And there's just so many factors with that, babe, because there's so many reasons why you set a goal and you may not hit it in the time frame.
That's most of the time for me. Did you realize that? Like most of the time I set a goal.
Most of the time you miss the mark?
I missed the mark.
The first time.
Exactly.
And sometimes
right.
the second time, right?
Exactly right.
So you have to have that mindset to be able to not only set a goal, but to restart if you don't make the goal.
Yep.
That's a lot.
And it's all how you define the restart, right? Because I look at it like a pit stop. Like if I'm in a race, if I'm in an Indy race, I already know there's going to be a pit stop. I got to change my tires. I got to make sure everything's on point, and I'm back out there running again. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if you have to take a second, right? That might even be planned. Or sometimes you just have to make an adjustment and say, hey, this is not actually panning out. It's not giving me the results I want.
Right.
Let me make an adjustment.
Make an adjustment to the goal or make an adjustment to how you're getting there?
Make it perhaps both. But if the goal, let's say you say, I'm going to be a millionaire by next month.
Okay.
And we're like, well, how are you going to get there? And you're like, I haven't really figured that out yet. Then you should probably change that goal.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Especially if you're at so far $100,000.
Right.
Like you're 10% of your goal. And in 30 days, if you've never done 900,000 in 30 days, and your goal is in the next 30 days to make $900,000 without a plan, that's probably not a good goal.
The plan could be a lottery ticket. Maybe.
So sometimes it's good to make an adjustment in the goal, but oftentimes it's just, set something more realistic, meaning that stretch the timeline out a little bit. Right. And the reason why I miss most of my goals is because I set lofty goals. And we're going to get to the self-talk and the things that you have to say to yourself in order to make the adjustment, but not quit. But you're right. I often set lofty goals. They are big, hairy, audacious goals, right? As we call them, BHAG goals.
Right.
So oftentimes I do have to make an adjustment and say, all right, let me stretch this out a little bit longer. For an example, when I first quit my job at 25 years old, and I said, oh man, I'm gonna be a millionaire by the age of 30, right? Because I was introduced to the entrepreneurial space. I'm thinking, man, there's no limit to income, because at my job, I knew I was gonna make $40,000 a year. I was never gonna make much more than that at my job because they didn't pay much more than that, no matter what.
Right.
And the only way I could get a raise was to take Eric's job, who was the regional manager. And typically someone above you is going to have to either move on to a different job or get fired, or they're going to have to die or retire. And those are all, negative things. I didn't want any of that to happen to Eric. But that was the only position above me.
Right.
So where was I going?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So when I saw the entrepreneurial space, I thought, and entrepreneurism isn't for everybody, but when I saw it, I thought, hold on, unlimited income potential.
Sure.
So I set big goals.
Yeah.
I didn't really know whether it was lofty or not. I just felt like millionaire by 30 sounded good with no plan. So again, I made adjustments along the way. When I realized, shoot, this is hard. Like people say no, and it's discouraging. And I started to realize it was my own self-esteem that I had to do. I had to deal with me more than the business, because it was how I was able to bounce back, how I was able to discipline my disappointments. That was more important than just the business itself, because I would mentally shut down.
Yeah. Especially if you don't have anybody around you to help you kind of bring it back around, right?
Yeah.
That's
have
tough.
you ever, well, I know that, you have set goals, you have set fitness goals and made an adjustment along the way and was like, you know what? I don't feel like going. I don't want to go. I don't feel like working out. I don't want to go to the gym. And so you got a personal trainer and things changed.
Yeah, they changed because you got me a personal trainer. I didn't want the personal trainer. You actually got the personal trainer and then put me on the phone and said, talk to the person and tell them when you can work out. And I was like, oh, hi, hello. But it was great because, again, you pushed me.
Yep.
And you have these goals, and then sometimes you fall off. But again, you can always start over.
Yep.
Or not even start over, kind of pick up where you left off sometimes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And that's so funny.
But thank you for my trainer. I love her, Zadia. I love you.
But my point is that, you didn't take away the goal. You just adjusted. Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the key. It's like people like, man, I feel like I'm never going to meet this person. I'm never going to accomplish this goal. I'm never going to look like this. And
Right.
And that never thing, that absolute thing is just not a.
It hurts you.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. So you know how many times? I'm gonna tell you. At 25, quit my job. 25. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 failed ventures in 4 years.
Wow. But what was your self-talk, babe, that you kept going? Because after 2, you could have been like, you know what? Let me just go back and get a job.
Right.
Because this is not working.
Yeah.
Because it happens all the time.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Some people after one time.
Right. So the good thing is I had so much going in me. I mean, I was at that time is when I was heavily immersed in personal development. And so the thoughts I had every single day, the affirmations I learned to say every single day caused me to speak about the things I wanted to see, not my current circumstances.
Wow, that's good. Yeah.
And so when you've got to go and you feel like, man, I just don't know how I'm going to get there, speak as if you are already there. And it's not the whole fake it till you make it thing, buy a fake watch, buy a fake bag. I've talked about that. I just don't think that's the right way to do it, because at that point, you're just trying to impress somebody else that I have made it. And it makes you maybe sometimes feel a little bit better about yourself. But it really is truly seeing yourself. What does this feel like when I'm here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do I feel like when I wake up in the morning when there is no financial stress? When I can make decisions that are not based on how much money I have left in the bank account, you know, if that's your goal, right? So at that point, you start to operate as if you're already there, and then you start to attract the things you don't currently have, because your mind, the subconscious, is so powerful. And that's what we're talking about. This self-talk is so powerful. And I think people neglect, they take for granted how powerful it is. How powerful your mind is when your subconscious believes that it's doing something that the conscious has not caught up with.
Wow. Yeah.
Here's how it works. So if you have a nightmare at night,
Yes.
you literally wake up with a heart rate as if you've been running around a track, but you laid still.
Right.
How is that possible?
Right.
How do you get a heart rate that's equivalent to you running on a treadmill, but you were laying still?
Sometimes it seems so real.
Because your mind said it
So
was real.
So real.
And if that's possible, check this out. If that's possible, if your mind can get your heart rate to increase,
Right.
can your mind also attract wealth?
Absolutely. I believe that. I believe that to be true.
So if I say right now, check this out, y'all. If I say right now, ready, set, increase your heart rate. Like, most folks could never do that. Like, I mean, maybe, you know, the old Bruce Lee or somebody could do. Like, I don't know how you know, but somebody really thinks. And you used to say that to me. Like, you really think like this is going to happen.
Right.
I'm like, no. I know what's going to happen.
Convince yourself of it.
I convinced myself.
Yes.
And it was based on the things I allowed inside of me, because the things I allowed inside of me resulted in what I said and what came from me.
That can work both ways. That can also work very negatively.
Yep.
If you've really convinced yourself of something that's not true,
Yeah.
that could be almost detrimental.
Yep.
It really,
No,
it can
I see
ruin relationships.
Yep.
It can ruin friendships. It can really mess you up.
Yep.
So you have to be really, really careful with that.
Yeah.
And make sure you're focused in on the right thing.
Absolutely. So if you're not feeling well, you know, be careful saying I feel horrible today, because you will attract that which you say. That's how powerful our words are. And I'm not saying like ignore illnesses, ignore pain. What I'm saying is be careful what you speak over your life.
That's it.
So
That's hard.
So oftentimes in my business life, more often than not, I've missed the date, and I just kept the same goal, just reset the date.
Right.
Like, I need 3 more months to hit this goal. I need another year to hit this goal. Some things went south. Whether, you know, you get business partners who treat each other wrong, and so now they got to start all over because of something that was done that lacked integrity, and so people got to start all over again. Like, all types of things happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so people made some mistakes themselves, and now we have to take accountability and say, man, I really messed up, but I'm going to start all over again. Or as you said, you know, just reset where you are and keep going.
Well, that's what I did with school. You know, I was in college and everything was going great. And then at some point, I have to take responsibility. I wasn't doing what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I had to stop, take a step back, and I went to community college for 2 semesters and kind of got myself back in and said, okay, I still want to get my degree. And I went back and finished. So it could have looked like, oh, she dropped out. She failed. She's not doing what she's supposed to do. No, I had to kind of reset myself. So you always have to stay positive when you go through that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Because I could have said, you know what, forget it. I messed up. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. But I think you wanted that bad enough.
But the goal was still there.
That's my point. You
Right?
wanted, right. So, but what if you said to yourself, you know what? I don't really want the degree anymore. Like, what I want in life doesn't really require the degree anyway.
Well, that would have been okay too.
Right.
I would have had to just have a new goal then.
That's exactly right. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. And so because in the failed ventures, or, you know, I define them as learning opportunities and stepping stones.
Yes.
But it's not like I eventually crossed the finish line with that vehicle. So I could look, you know, if I looked at it that way, I could say, man, I failed at all these different things. But I learned from these different things so that I could succeed in the vehicle that I once chose and became passionate about.
Yeah, well, sometimes when you get to that pit stop, you're learning about yourself.
Yeah.
And like you said, you learn, I don't know if that's my goal anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to do something else. Maybe I want to switch it up. Because sometimes when it seems like a failure or a mistake, you're just really figuring it out.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? I don't actually like that.
Yep. And look, there are times where you actually hit a goal and then slip back. And you really need strong self-talk at that point.
Because you've done it.
It's exactly right. If you've never been there, that's one thing. Like if you've never had your own automobile, that's one thing. If you've had it and then lost it, that's something else. And so that was me.
Right.
Like I had hit my goal
Right.
and then fell backwards from my goal and had to get myself together and say, all right, you know what it takes in order to get to this place, get yourself back together.
Yes.
Like I set the goal to lose 50 pounds by 50. Missed the goal, fell a little short of 50, a few pounds.
Right.
Hit the goal, but then stopped doing what I did to get there and started gaining some of it back. And I'm at an older age trying to hit the same goal I did as a younger age when your body is different.
Right.
So now I'm making an adjustment at 54 to do the same thing I did at 49. But again, if I set the same goal, 50 pounds in, you know, at that time, 1 year.
1 year.
Then I have to ask myself, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What adjustments do I need
You
to make?
learned about yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
So, yep, exactly. So my point is this, is that, you know, what are you laughing at back there? My point is this, is that there are times where you slip, you fall down, things don't go according to plan. The date comes that you had set that you were going to have this, you're going to move into the home or have your first home or, you know, whatever it was going to be. And it didn't happen that day. I'm just saying, stay encouraged, say the right things to yourself, have the right self-talk so that you're not changing the goal. You're just shifting the date. Stop saying to yourself that it's never going to happen.
Right.
Because it didn't happen by that date. I guess it's not supposed to happen ever because it didn't happen by that date. I'm asking that you do your best to adjust the date, but keep the goal.
That's good.
And if the goal is unrealistic,
Yeah.
then perhaps adjust the goal, but don't throw the entire goal. Don't throw it all the way, right? Continue to go for the things that you desire in life and don't allow negative self-talk to keep you away from it. You can do it. You deserve it. And I can't wait for you to accomplish it.
That was good, babe.
Thank you. Another episode of the Self-Talk, guys. Remember, the things we say to ourselves about ourselves eventually will determine what we attract for ourselves.
And if you have a goal, I believe in you.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Self-Talk Podcast with Darnell and Tracy Self. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And we'll see you next time. And remember, talk good to yourself.